on, you guys? It is your boy, the American F1 fan, Eric Ringel here, and the Spanish Grand Prix has just ended, and it is a tale of what if today. But Max Verstappen takes the victory in the Spanish Grand Prix, Sergio Perez finishing second, and George Russell for Mercedes was able to hang on to finish in third place. And we'll go into the reason why I'm saying hang on as we talk about this race. So let's get on into it. So very early on at the beginning of the race, Leclerc absolutely gets a stonking start. I mean, just absolutely just blows away the rest of the field, really. Works out to almost an 11-second lead. And this was a real race of just varying strategies. You had most of the field start on the soft tire. Lewis Hamilton was the only one who didn't start on the soft. He started on the medium. On the very first lap, him and Magnussen come together. There's a lot of disagreement as far as who's at fault there. I can see both sides of the incident, but I'm so gutted for Kevin because he got off to a really great start as well, and was going to be able to pass Hamilton, and they just came together. And I agree with the steward's comments that there was no investigation necessary. There was just a racing incident. It was gutting for Magnussen, but I mean, God, Hamilton able to pull this out and was able to get a fifth place finish in this race. I mean, Hamilton made a great comeback. But I'm going to say one thing. Hamilton needs to stop his whining. He, after the incident, and probably about, I think 10 laps in, basically just wanted to retire the car and just say, let's save the power unit and all this other stuff. So to the Hamilton fans, stop complaining, Hamilton. Just stop complaining. Run your race. You finished fifth. Had you retired, you wouldn't have scored this fifth place finish. So, just stop the complaining. Yes, an incident happened. It was a racing incident. So be it. But stop the complaining. You had a great race today. You had great strategy. It gets to be a kind of annoying sometimes, and that's why I feel like there's a lot of fans that don't like Hamilton, because we hear so much whining. We hear so much complaining about, my tires are gone, or, whatever the case may be. I had an incident, and now I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, get back up into the points. This is why people don't necessarily like Hamilton all that much, because we tend to get a lot of complaining. But we go on with the race. Leclerc just looks like he's going to run away with this race. Was just able to keep scoring, just keep the pace ahead, kept Max Verstappen at bay. Carlos Sainz has a weird incident about 5 or 6 laps into the race, and very good explanation came after Max Verstappen had the same issue happen to him. Going into turn 4, he loses the back end, slides into the gravel, loses a ton of places, falls down out of the top 10. Then you had Verstappen have the same thing happen, and we come to find out through Verstappen's radio that there was a massive crosswind at turn 4, and that was what caused both those cars to lose their back ends and to go into the gravel. Verstappen's didn't penalize him as much as it did Sainz, but Sainz was able to make a great comeback in this race too. Then we get to the what if, as Charles Leclerc has an engine failure. Now there was talks that there was a potential engine problem at the beginning of the race when he was going to the grid, and so there's some talk on whether or not that issue creeped back in. But all of a sudden, Charles just loses power, and you hear over the radio just him, absolutely gutted. Because I'm going to be honest, I think had Charles Leclerc not lost his power there, this wouldn't have been a race all day. Leclerc wins, and I have a feeling it would have been a very handily held victory for Charles Leclerc. But, Perez then takes over the lead after this happens. Perez was running really well throughout this whole entire race. Verstappen was able to get back up behind Perez, and then you had Russell in third place. Just a great run race by the Red Bulls. Was able to take advantage of the failure by Charles Leclerc. Sergio Perez ran in the lead for a while. Verstappen still showing problems with the DRS. He had problems with DRS in qualifying yesterday. They still were here with the car today, and it just absolutely it ruined part of his race there for a while. But Red Bull made the strategy call to eventually get Max past Sergio Perez, get Max into the lead, and that was about it for the race. I mean, Verstappen was able to just waltz away once Perez allowed him by. Russell was able to keep his third place, and the reason why I said we were going to talk about Russell holding on for third place is radio messages started to come to both Mercedes with about 2 laps to go, and them saying that you guys need to lift and coast more. You know, we're in a position where we may DNF if we don't. You obviously saw Lewis Hamilton start to slow down quite a bit, and Carlos Sainz makes a huge comeback as well in this race, able to score a 4th place finish after the calamity that he had at the beginning of the race. But you saw them start to slow down, and you were starting to worry, was Mercedes going to be able to not DNF this race? But luckily they were able to lift and coast enough. We heard that it was a water leak within the power unit, so there's going to be some investigating going on after the race for Mercedes to figure out what caused that issue. All right, so now it's into the race results. As I said, Max Verstappen winning the race. You had Sergio Perez finishing second. Great 1-2 for Red Bull. That really helps them in the team championship. Then you had George Russell finishing third. You had Carlos Sainz finishing fourth. Lewis Hamilton finishing fifth. Valtteri Bottas, another great race for Alfa Romeo. There was times during that race that, there was a chance that somehow Valtteri could get on the podium. It just wasn't meant to be, as it looks like the pace for Mercedes has really kind of picked up ever since these upgrades that they brought to Spain. Then you had Esteban Ocon, Lando Norris right behind Esteban. Lando, it came out yesterday just after qualifying that Lando's been dealing with hay fever. Has been dealing with massive, like you could see the pictures of his eyes at points just being real red. And if you've ever had hay fever, it's no joke. So congratulations to Lando Norris with that. You had Fernando Alonso finishing 9th. Then you had Yuki Tsunoda rounding out the top 10. Another great race by Yuki. Was able to out-qualify Gasly. And then able to run a really good race today. And again, this race was really all about tire strategies. You saw a lot of guys doing 2 or 3 lap stop races. Even some ran 4 stops. It was just one of those, with the heat in Spain today, it was degrading those tires so horribly. And so, they weren't getting the life that was expected, that Pirelli had kind of explained. They just weren't getting that same, the same length in the tires that they were expected to. Then finishing out the race results, you had Sebastian Vettel finishing 11th. Really, really good run for the Aston Martin Red Bull car. Fantastic race for them. I know. Everybody's been making the joke this week. It is very eerily similar that Aston Martin looks exactly like the Red Bull. It's just, there's going to be a lot to prove from that team that there wasn't potentially some stolen designs coming from Red Bull there. You had Daniel Ricciardo finishing 12th. Daniel Ricciardo had a really nice run here. I think a lot of this, again, boiled down to strategy. Daniel had a really good start to the race, was running in the top 10, and then I think it's just strategy. I think in the end is what really got to him. Then you had Pierre Gasly finishing 13th, Mick Schumacher finishing 14th. He was so close. Mick was so close to getting a top 10 and getting into the points. It just wasn't meant to be. Haas, it looked, again, like I said, it was a race of strategy. And, after Magnussen, fell down the order to last place and, basically was muddled in last place until you had Leclerc retire and Guan Yu Zhou retire. I don't know if it's just horrible strategy by Haas, but this one I felt like Mick could have really run at the top of the order, at least in the top 10, had there been better, better planning here. And so, it's a shame to see Mick Schumacher down in 14th. Then you had Lance Stroll in 15th. You had Nicholas Latifi beating his teammate for the first time this season. Nicholas Latifi finishing 16th. Then you had Kevin Magnussen finishing 17th. Just a horrible race, a race to forget for Kevin Magnussen. Then you had Alexander Albon as the last finisher of the race in 18th, and then you had Guan Yu Zhou and Charles Leclerc retire. So, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought of the Spanish Grand Prix. Who was your driver of the day? I've got to say, I think with what happened at the beginning of the race for this man, Carlos Sainz is my driver of the day. I think, to have that spin out early on in the race and was able to fight back and get a 4th place, that great drive by Carlos Sainz. So Carlos Sainz is my driver of the day, but let me know in the comment section down below who your driver of the day was and what you guys thought of the Spanish Grand Prix. Guys, slap a like on this video for more Formula 1 content. I've got Formula 1 content coming out all the time. We've got the Monaco Grand Prix next week, so we've got to preview that. And guys, subscribe to this channel if you guys are new. You guys get more and more Formula 1 content from me. But guys, for the American F1 fan, I'm Eric Ringel, signing off.